On May 21st, 1971, Marvin Gaye released a studio album that contains the central question people have been asking for centuries and are currently asking themselves post-election. What's going on? Some would say that Marvin Gaye was just clueless, but I'd say that a good amount of people are feeling this way right now, because a lot has happened post-election and it's extremely hard to keep up. Conservatives are having a blast typing out "your body, my choice" in people's comment sections. White women are tapping into their performative activist gene through making blue bracelets, even though the stats say the majority of them voted for Trump. Random black folks have been getting hate crime through text messages. And most importantly, the blame game has started to commence on why Kamala lost this election.
Help me!
I'm trying to find out how much them condos are gonna run. Because I know they're gonna be pretty over there in Gaza.
So if you know of a Latino who voted for Trump, I urge you to call this number and report said family members. Extreme problems call for extreme solutions. And unfortunately, many innocent people are going to be affected by this, but you can't be that innocent if you raised a Latino for Trump.
Black folks, take your asses back to Starbucks. Go get your mocha frappuccinos. Cause I'm about to go get me a whole 24 fucking case.
When we address Latina, and language has meaning. When we address Latino voters as Latinx, for instance, because that's the politically correct thing to do. It makes them think that we don't even live on the same planet as they do. When we are too afraid to say that, hey, college kids, if you're trashing a campus at Columbia University because you're unhappy about some sort of policy and you're taking over a university and you're trashing it and preventing other students from learning.
In short words, everyone is crashing out right now. And while the anger associated with the Trump presidency is justifiable, I want to examine why all this is happening and the overall fallout of this election through the lens of more apathy. Because those videos exist, those types of opinions post-election exist, and it would be ignorant to straight up ignore them. They must be acknowledged so we know what not to do. And if we're really going to operate under different frameworks and mindsets moving forward in the second Trump term, then we have to come to an understanding of why this discourse is happening, where it's coming from, and what our next steps in general should look like. So let's not waste any more time and get straight into it. Do not look at me like that. This is a video about election fallout and more apathy. Do you know what the comments on this video are going to look like? Do you know what the comments on it? Get your 3-5 and light up with me. Shit.
Nigga, like...
Good morning to all the ladies, gentlemen, gays, and he/him lesbians watching our broadcast. My name is Mr. Baldwin, and welcome to the Think Peace Tribe News Network. A recent report has dropped after the 2024 election, which includes the bombshell details of the Democratic Party planning to commit their own version of a January 6th insurrection that we saw in 2021. The leaked plans show everyone stating their pronouns before Mark Hamill comes onto the podium. He will do the land acknowledgement in his Joker voice. This will then be followed up with a musical performance from Gorilla and Megan Thee Stallion. Chappell Roan was asked to attend, but she responded with, quote, "fuck off." Data from the election showed that a majority of white men and women voted for Trump, so white liberals have agreed to use themselves as a sacrifice and are putting themselves on the front lines. At first, they asked black women to put themselves on the front lines again, but that plan was quickly canceled when black women started shooting at them with 50-round drums and hollow tips. Their plan not to get shot on sight is to use reverse psychology to confuse the officers. Details show that they'll scream, "When they go low, we go high," as they storm the Capitol and burn it to the ground. If you want to watch the whole thing live, the Democrats will stream the insurrection on Twitch with AOC, Tim Walz, Hassan Piker, and a rare 5-minute appearance from Playboi Carti. Next up on the Think Peace Tribe News Network, we'll be joined by Joe Biden and his oxygen tank to discuss why America is sending $100 trillion to Israel, why you should shut up about it, and why you shouldn't question it. Before I start my analysis, I'm going to give a general definition on moral callousness and then James Baldwin's definition on moral apathy, so y'all can have two formal understandings of the concept as we continue. So here's what Psychology Today defines moral callousness as.
Moral callousness is a kind of insensitivity to the care, concern, needs, or well-being of others. Callousness often has a strong undertone of selfishness. One puts her self-interest ahead of the interests of others.
So when you think of moral callousness, I know a lot of examples pop up in your mind, but for the time being, let's narrow down our examples to Spandam from One Piece and Mike from Why Did I Get Married? Without spoiling any of the films or series being mentioned here, Spandam operates under a framework of moral callousness through his gross mistreatment of Robin during the Nevi's Lobbies arc and Water 7 saga. And Mike operates under a framework of moral callousness through his blatant disloyalty to Sheila that we see in the hilarious dinner table scene. Both characters have extremely selfish desires and don't care about the needs of other people around them because they're operating under a moral callousness framework, which explains the actions that they take in the respective stories that they were in. Also, I recommend that you watch both One Piece and Why Did I Get Married, because the Water 7 saga has the greatest arcs that I've seen in media so far, and Why Did I Get Married is actually a funny and, dare I say, good Tyler Perry film. And for all my One Piece stans watching this video, yes, I switched to One Piece. Yes, I'm about to start the Whole Cake Island arc. Yes, I think Oda should make Zoro and Sanji canon. Yes, I think Robin pegs Frankie.
At the back of the bus.
Yes, I will be pushing the Usopp agenda when I get caught up and start reading the Elbaf arc. Yes, I think Dragon is a fraud, and yes, I think Buggy will find the One Piece and will become the Pirate King for like 2 seconds before Luffy takes the throne. But enough talk about One Piece, and actually, let's show James Baldwin's definition of moral apathy, as I believe it's the best definition for the concept.
I'm terrified at the moral apathy, the death of the heart, which is happening in my country. These people have deluded themselves for so long that they really don't think I'm human. I base this on their conduct, not on what they say. And this means that they have become, in themselves, moral monsters.
So on one hand, we have moral apathy, which is the death of the heart and other-oriented thinking. And then there's moral callousness, which is the death of good actions and acts of kindness. I brought up Spandam and Mike as examples of this earlier, but we can see this from other characters in media like Firelord Ozai, Joffrey Baratheon, Bill Cipher, Walter White, Emperor Bellows, Gaston, like you get the idea. And if you picked up on it already, we see the concepts of moral apathy and moral callousness a lot in our media because all drama is conflict. Without conflict, you have no action. Without action, you have no character. Without character, you have no story. And without story, you have no screenplay.
You put your characters and your readers through hell. You kill your characters off. You torture them. You treat them badly. Are you really, both of you, psychopaths under the skin? I'm going to send that one to you, George, first.
I'm looking forward to the answer to this.
Well, let's see. I could have written a story about a really well-adjusted family and a well-governed realm where Ned Stark comes down and takes over and solves all the problems, and the Seven Kingdoms has a great period of prosperity, and Danny is welcomed back and married off to one of the other noble families of the realm, and occasionally there's a currency crisis or something, but I don't know, would that have been as exciting?
Might not have taken that one on.
Would you guys have been having as much fun at the Christmas party, saying offer more? I mean, conflict and conflict and danger, and all of these things are the strong spices that we want. You know, when they occur in our real life, we hate them, but they're part of what makes life, as opposed to just unending days of boredom. And I think we crave them in our fiction.
Now, while the stories we consume need to have characters who are morally apathetic and morally callous, in real life, that's a whole different story. And if you want to see these concepts being used in the real world, then let's imagine a big ass pot, alright? And in this pot, we sprinkle in a dash of American individualism, a pinch of American exceptionalism, a splash of miseducation, misinformation, anger, fear, and then you get the various videos, tweets, posts, and comments about the election that are at their best coming from a place of fear, and at their worst are coming from a place of straight up xenophobia and racism. And just like the characters we talked about, some Americans are operating under a framework of more apathy post-election, and it's probably why you've seen videos of people claiming that they can't wait to see Gaza get turned into a luxury resort, going back to Starbucks and McDonald's, and claim that they're gonna resort to calling ICE on Hispanic individuals. And before y'all start, I know that they're talking about the Hispanic individuals who voted for Trump, and trust me, I'm gonna say it like Dr. Umar 3 times, trust me, I'm not caping for Latinos who voted for Trump, white folks who voted for Trump, nigga, anyone who voted for Trump. However, I think we can all agree that calling ICE on anybody is a bad thing. Right? Hello? Right? So it's not only utterly disgusting, but it's also not surprising when this is the framework that you operate under. So, of course, you think that an extreme solution to the extreme problem of Trump, the GOP, Trump's voters, and the harmful systems that he upholds is to start calling ICE on people and wish for the destruction of Gaza. Of course, the most radical thing you can think of is engaging in literal state-sanctioned violence when your heart is dead and your acts of kindness die alongside it. This leads people to not look at data, systems of oppression, or any credible information because they don't care about community or their fellow man, which leads them to become highly susceptible to misinformation and then blame the wrong people for why Trump won in the first place. And we saw this with the immediate start of the blame game post-election, and frankly way before that. In the last few weeks of the election, black men got blamed for why Kamala was gonna lose, even though black men vote second to black women for the Democratic Party. And wouldn't you look at that, they did it again for the Democratic Party in this election. Third-party voters like myself got blamed for the loss, even though if you add up all the third-party votes and put them with the votes for Kamala, she still loses to Trump and gains 0, a big fat donut, Tony Snell, 0 electoral votes from all those third-party votes. Also, if you're somehow surprised that I voted for Claudia De La Cruz in this election, then you must be new to the channel, or you must have been watching my videos with the volume turned all the way down. Cause let's be clear, I was not gonna vote for a white supremacist. And I was also not gonna vote for people who let themselves become tools for white supremacy either. And that ain't even a radical statement, it's how the American people saw it on election day. They didn't want white supremacy light, they wanted white supremacy premium. But don't fret, don't worry, I voted down the ballot and I voted early because I can't stand them long ass lines. But let's talk about the group of people who I think got hit with the blame game the most. Because Arab American families, some of whose families are currently getting bombed by America and apartheid Israel, got hit with the blame game so hard that it was comically absurd. Like, no bullshit, y'all, they sent Richie Torres, Bill Clinton, and Obama to berate Arab Americans in Michigan, and were surprised when that didn't work whatsoever. I mean, can you imagine being scared every day that your sister, brother, or mother is gonna die from weapons and bombs that your taxes pay for, and then you hear Bill Clinton came down to your area just to tell you that everything that's happening to your family is somehow your fault?
Let me talk about the hardest issue here in Michigan is the Middle East. I understand why young Palestinian and Arab Americans in Michigan think too many people have died. I get that. But the people who criticize it are essentially saying, yeah, but look how many people you've killed in Talon. So how many is enough for you to kill to punish them for the terrible things they did? That all sounds nice until you realize, what would you do if it was your family and you hadn't done anything but support a homeland for the Palestinians, and one day they come for you and slaughter the people in your village? You would say, well, you'll have to forgive me, I'm not keeping score that way. It isn't how many we've had to kill, because Hamas makes sure that they're shielded by civilians. They'll force you to kill civilians if you want to defend yourself.
Also, you gotta keep in mind that these are the same politicians that did massive bombing campaigns in the Middle East. I mean, shit, I'm surprised that Michigan didn't get drone struck by Obama when he left. That's like if Joe Biden was a white supremacist segregationist and went on the Breakfast Club to gain support and told black people that if they didn't vote for him, they weren't black. Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, wait, that actually happened. Damn. You know, I wasn't old enough to vote back then, but I wonder what happened to the black people that didn't vote for Biden.
I'll never vote for you.
Then I'm afraid you ain't black.
Anyways, you get what I mean. It's just awful all around. And it's funny, because the people who actually deserve to get blamed for this election loss are not the ones facing blame at all. And sadly, that's purposeful. Because the blame isn't put on the Democratic Party for abandoning its core base of supporters to appeal to moderates that were never going to vote for Kamala in the first place. It isn't put on Republicans for convincing white people that their whiteness will somehow lift them up out of poverty. It isn't put on the ultra-wealthy individuals that uphold these harmful systems of oppression. And the blame most certainly isn't put on our white supremacist system and society that produces people like Trump and JD Vance. No, the blame is and will always be solely put on fucking minorities and people who were quite literally abandoned and banned from talking. Because instead of engaging in systems thinking and self-reflection, they'd rather scapegoat us for their own failures.
As somebody who comes from a community that has been told repeatedly to shut up and fall in line, I wish Kamala did better. You know, I was out there at the DNC, you know, when they wouldn't allow, you know, they wouldn't even allow a Palestinian speaker to get on the mic. Like, I was there, I saw it. I think that was not just a mistake. I think it was cold and inhumane. And I think it was particularly cold and inhumane because there was a huge diversity party going on. And now you're saying these people can't speak. So when they don't want to come out and vote for you, like, do you not get it? Do you not understand why?
They had Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, gay Americans, Jewish Americans, Palestinian to be fair, it was only 4 nights, 8 hours a night. But really, it's best not to think about the consequences of our actions over there.
And the wild part is the Democrats won't learn a single thing from this loss, as they've already come to the conclusion that they didn't appeal to the right hard enough, and that they need a leftist Joe Rogan. So I don't expect them to learn any lessons from this whatsoever. However, you can learn something from this, and I can learn something from this, because now we understand more callousness and more apathy a bit better. But we haven't come to an understanding of exactly who this discourse is coming from. Because do you honestly think that these folks stopped going to Starbucks? You really think that they stopped going to McDonald's to begin with? The truth of the matter is, white liberals aren't the only ones that engage in fake support and performative activism. But don't worry, because I'm going to tell you a little secret. The people making these videos, tweets, comments, and posts don't make up the majority. In fact, they were a loud minority. But I like to call them my favorite term, which is loud people on the internet. Welcome back to the Think Beast Tribe News Network. We tried to get Joe Biden on our broadcast, but he asked to go to the bathroom, wandered off into a broom closet, and never found his way back on set. Sources say that Joe Biden is struggling with a bout of dementia, and when we asked him about this in the parking lot as he was leaving, he said, quote, "Nuh-uh." In other news, bring your poppers, water bottle, lube, and best DL tray that you found on Grindr. Cause the Kamala is Brat campaign has transformed into the Trump is Brat campaign. When Trump got elected this November, white gays panicked all over Brooklyn cause they realized for the first time in a while that their rights were in danger. Thus, they're trying to appeal to Trump and the GOP as much as possible. Usually, they'd be criticized by Black and POC queer people for engaging in this campaign because it's coming at the expense of marginalized people. However, they've gentrified Brooklyn so much that there's only one Black person left, and he's a Dominican with 4C hair that doesn't want to identify as Black. Their plan is to bring this Trump is Black campaign to the Trump Tower, where they'll drop off a resolution that, quote, works to ban all Black and POC gays from white-owned gay bars in New York. We added all POC gays and Black gays together in this bill to make this ban more inclusive. We asked Trump to comment on this new campaign, and he said, quote, "Don't let those get past the front door." Next up on the Think Peace Tribe News Network, we'll be joined by Jimmy Carter to talk about why the Democrats threatened to put his entire family in Guantanamo Bay if he doesn't run for president in 2028. On February 4, 2023, I released a video essay titled "The Confusing Nature of Black Conservatives." When I reflect on it today, I still think it's a pretty good analysis about Black conservatism. And while the audio on the video is janky because I left my mic in the camera overnight when I was recording it, Harriana Hook, who I interviewed for this piece, said something that I need to touch on a little bit more.
We found out that most of Herschel Walker's supporters were white people. So that just goes to show you, one, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, but two, it's just we may feel like there's a lot more Black conservatives than ever before. We may feel like there's a lot of them, but studies are showing it ain't that many of them. It's just a lot of loud fuckers on the internet. When you go out in public, a lot of people don't even share their political views.
In the clip, she's talking about how most of Herschel Walker's supporters were white people, which is true. And the graphic I used to support that shows how something similar occurred during the Georgia governor election in 2022. During 2022, there was a supposed huge red wave that was going to happen amongst Black men, and we were supposedly the reason why Stacey Abrams was going to lose in that Georgia governor election. Whether you believe in anecdotal evidence or not, I live in Georgia, and I saw and heard Black men getting belittled and talking down to on the internet and in real life because of this supposed huge red wave of Black male Kemp supporters. But here's the thing. The data was never strong enough to support this huge red wave amongst Black men in that election. And when Stacey Abrams lost that election, the data proved that this huge red wave was a complete red herring, because 84% of Black men in Georgia voted for her, second to Black women who voted 93% for her. In this recent election, like I said earlier in part 1, Black men started to face a lot of blame for why Kamala was going to lose the national election. Then, when the results came out, the exit polls in key states showed that 77% of Black men voted for her. And in Georgia, 83% of Black men voted for her. In both instances, you see the same pattern occur. An election cycle comes around, Black men get blamed for why insert Democratic candidate here is going to lose, and then when the exit polls come out, they end up voting second to black women for the Democratic Party. It's a tale as old as time that I like to call the black male Republican myth, because some black men do go on the internet and go out into the real world to spout conservative rhetoric, but the data says something completely different. And there are a lot of factors at play here, from the misogynoir that these black femme candidates go through, to the scapegoating and anti-black racism that black male voters have to go through each election cycle. But here's the thing. A big reason why this black male Republican myth occurs is because of loud black conservatives on the internet. In both cases, people thought that there was going to be this huge red wave amongst black men, but the voting data never reflected that. This is because people let loud black conservatives warp their perceptions on reality and how people operate in the real world. So it's no surprise that this same logic can be applied to loud liberals, loud black liberals who are making the videos that I've shown, and me. If I'm anything, I'm self-aware. I'm a 20-year-old middle-class black kid from the metro Atlanta suburbs who is, quote, another black influencer shouting into the camera. And while that comment is straight up hilarious, it's also true. I'm a loud person on the internet who doesn't represent what black people think as a collective. I make my art to get folks to see things from my lens and my perspective. I try to critique systemic problems and what we can do about them. And maybe we'll learn something along the way. When it comes to these loud liberals and loud black liberals that you're seeing, they're doing something similar, but we're operating from totally different frameworks. When they're telling you that black people are leaving the Palestinian movement, or fuck all y'all, we're going to Starbucks now, that's what they see from their lens and their perspective. Donald Trump got elected, and they're angry about it, which, like I said before, is justifiable. But what isn't justifiable is making videos denouncing the Palestinian movement for Palestinian emancipation and saying that you're gonna go back to Starbucks when Starbucks isn't just anti-Palestinian, but they're anti-black as well. Cause let's be clear, your rights as an American cannot be maintained without Congolese emancipation, Sudanese emancipation, Palestinian emancipation. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And if you truly think that none of what I'm talking about affects you, then read up on APD officers getting sent to Israel to learn urban training tactics from the IOF, and watch how these cop cities will use these same tactics against Palestinians on you. And yes, you. I'm talking to you. Nigga, I'm pointing at you. I'm pointing at you. And even if these videos make up the majority amount of opinions that you're seeing online, you shouldn't see these videos and make broad conclusions on what black people think as a whole. Shout out Noah for giving me that line. Because black people aren't a monolith. We aren't the extremely negative stereotypes that folks paint us out to be. And we're not the overly positive people that white liberals like to mammy on the internet for performative activism. We can be wrong. We can adhere to American individualism. We can operate under frameworks of moral apathy. And yes, sometimes we can do nothing but vote every 4 years, just like the rest of y'all. Usually I would try to have these convos in private, but since they want to put these videos out for all to see, we must recognize that these opinions, their opinions only reside on the internet. And they're coming from a loud bourgeoisie class who have these same negative views on working class black people and black liberation movements especially. They really don't play about that talented tent shit. Blue, if you're watching this video, be my witness. Jack and Jill, be my witness. Obasata. But I will say to keep the community critiques to people that look like me. Because when you try to talk from the outside looking in, most times it's going to come across a different way and you're going to look stupid. Like there was this one dude on TikTok called Machino Dorito, and he did this exact same thing and then followed up with another video dropping a book rec about anarchism and the Black Revolution that he didn't read because it was brand new. But like I said, I'm telling y'all, don't do no white leftist theory bullshit like that. Do not try to talk about issues surrounding the black community and then post brand new books from Amazon that you haven't read. Cause trust me, we can tell. The book spine don't got no cracks, the cover looks like it hasn't been touched, There's no indentions on the page. There's no bookmarks in the book. Like, trust me, we can tell. So just don't do it. And don't let loud liberals and loud conservatives who operate from frameworks of moral apathy warp your perceptions on reality. Cause God knows, I would love to see an election cycle where black people aren't the #1 scapegoat in my lifetime. Shit is wild. I've only been here for 20 years. And if this is how every single national election is gonna go moving forward, then my folks should have spent 50 and popped the plan B. What the fuck? But complaining aside, we've discussed many things, from what framework these videos are coming from to who exactly these opinions are coming from. But the one thing we haven't discussed, beyond the first question posed of what's going on, is what do we do now?
Now go ahead and send me money, yeah! Money, cash.
Bro, they need to put cocaine back in fucking Coca-Cola cans. And hear me out. Welcome back to the Think Peace Tribe News Network. We talked to Jimmy Carter, and midway through the interview, the threat on his family got canceled because the Democrats realized that he was too critical on Israel. The Democrats will run a JFK clone that they've kept in their hyperbolic time chamber since 1963. Sources say that they've been preparing for a situation like this, and the clone has the evil mind of Gavin Newsom, the body of Teddy Roosevelt, the racism of J. Edgar Hoover, and the bombing skills of Henry Kissinger and Obama. In other news, Trump is currently announcing his new cabinet picks, and we'll list them off on this broadcast. Up first, we have Azula as Trump's pick for CIA director, and Firelord Ozai as Trump's pick for the Director of National Intelligence. If you thought there was no war in Ba Sing Se, there will be once they get into office. Mr. Boss from Smiling Friends has been appointed as the Defense Secretary, Bill Cipher has been appointed as Secretary of State, and Buggy from the Buggy Pirates has been appointed as a Treasury Secretary. We don't know how he got this position when he's quite literally an emperor, but everyone on this list is underqualified as it is, so fuck it, why not? Lastly, Trump has appointed Nobuhiro Watatsuki, creator of the Rurouni Kenshin manga, to replace Matt Gaetz as Attorney General to, quote, replace an American pedo with a Japanese pedo for diversity, equity, and inclusion. He has also appointed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as the Health and Human Services Secretary, even though he believes vaccines cause autism and has brainworms. That last pick wasn't even a joke. That's just how unserious this Trump administration is going to be moving forward. Anyways, that's all the time we have for the Think Peace Tribe News Network. Tune in next week where we'll uncover the bombshell discovery of the Kansas City Chiefs using human transmutation and devil magic to get to their 10-1 record. We got a report from FD Signifier that the Chicago Bears tried to get on this as well, but they were so ass that Satan himself rejected their ritual and put a curse on them. This is why they've been losing all season in the most embarrassing fashions. But who am I to talk? Because unfortunately, I am a Falcons fan. When I was writing this video, I finished watching the Dressrosa arc in One Piece, and I think this arc contains a good lesson that we should all learn from as we go through another Trump presidency. I won't spoil anything in this arc, but just like other One Piece arcs, they continue to reaffirm community over individualism, collectivism over the individual self. Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates can't achieve any of their goals or any future goals that they want to achieve without community, comrades, and the will of the people. They literally state this on the back of volume 79 of the One Piece manga, which includes the final fight between Luffy and Doflamingo. In the face of fascism and Doflamingo's tyrannical dictatorship, the Straw Hats must work together with the entire population of Dressrosa if they want to topple Doflamingo once and for all. And to make the analogy even more apparent, at first, their moments of utter hopelessness and suffering that they've experienced from Doflamingo's fascist dictatorship made the Dressrosa population retreat inwards and only worry about themselves. But they only succeeded in the end because of a collective effort. Luffy would have never succeeded without the help of the Dressrosa population, and the Dressrosa population would have never been free without the help of Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates. And while we don't have a Luffy in the real world that we can give food to so he can Gatling gun Trump off of the face of the earth, we do have mutualism, we have community, and we need that collective effort to change our circumstances for the better now more than ever. Like most people post-election, I felt the utter despair and doomerism associated with the Trump presidency. But something that I realized is that I had to go to a mandatory training meeting on Friday that same election week for the Andrew Young Center Higher Education and Prisons program that I'm a part of. Sitting in that meeting, centered on a prison plantation in Atlanta, and watching black overseers talk about how evil the inmates are really made me think about why I joined this program and my purpose for doing this community work. Because while the situation around prisons in America and in Atlanta are devastatingly awful, I'm not here to support these institutions, and I'm not here to get buddy-buddy with them black overseers at the prison. I'm here to support these incarcerated folks and help them survive this prison system by supplying them with an education that they didn't get access to when they were my age and younger. Whether you think what we're doing is justified or not, at least I'm trying to do something. You know, like I'm out here trying to do community building. I'm trying to put what I learned in my practice into praxis. Shit, nigga, I work in a public library, but I don't do this for me specifically. Everything I do and everything I want to do in the future is for community. It's for the benefit of the people around me, and I feel as if this mentality and this collectivist framework is what we all need to be operating under, especially at this moment. Elliot Sang made a good piece on not doom scrolling and doing something with the time and energy that you have, and I agree with this take 100%. As rights get stripped away, laws go backward in time, and the economy hits a downturn, we have to work as a collective to make sure that all of us survive and that no one gets left behind from Trump's Project 2025 policies. If you're queer, you must live. Don't let these bigots make you feel like you have to take yourself away from this earth. If you still believe adhering to whiteness and blaming immigrants and trans people will solve all your problems, I'm telling you right now that these white supremacy mindsets won't save you. And if you don't do the work to de-learn your bigotry, then you'll learn the hard way that these Republicans do not want you in their in-group. The leopards will eat your face. Tokens will be getting spent, and they will throw you off to the side of the road like you meant nothing to them at all. And to all my black folks, can we please put a damn ceasefire on the diaspora wars? Like, we don't got time for all that nonsense. And the same thing goes to every non-black person on that anti-black bullshit. Regardless of who got in the office, this work was gonna have to be done from the jump. Cause Republicans won't save us, for sure. And establishment Democrats won't save us either. And to be honest, I'm not telling y'all to get your pitchforks, Glocks, and start the revolution by tomorrow. Cause I still think we're in the political education phase of it all. In America, that is.
And I just want to add that because of recent events, I'm talking about the American public and community as a whole. Obviously, individuals can and have taken the steps to engage in radical direct action, but if the public doesn't have a certain level of class consciousness, then these direct actions will continue to be seen on an individual level, or you'll see the public engage in praxis for all the wrong reasons.
But what I am saying is that the only way we survive this is if we do the work to help meet the material conditions that we struggle with. And the only way we can move forward in this second Trump term is through a collective effort. The Democrats are stuck in their establishment bubble and are literally shutting their ears off to the needs and concerns of the people for corporate dollars. And Republicans are trying to shape their Confederate view of America, but there's always a food bank that you can volunteer at. Winter is here, and niggas in Atlanta are doing distro almost every week to give clothes and food to houseless people. There's books, fiction, nonfiction, theory that you can read to better educate yourself. And there's still hope for the future. But that hope will only stay alive if we fight for a better future for all of us. Or you can become stagnant like Drake, dive deep into more callousness and more apathy, sue Kendrick Lamar and UMG over a beef that you clearly lost, and never beat the colonizer allegations. Shit, I don't know.
I think I'm an addict, want the world and I'ma have it. I'm so fucking dramatic, got all my bones up in the attic and I dance them all around like a marionette.
Okay, it's a little bit silent in here. Can we get the music back, please? Can we? Okay, thank you. Thank y'all for watching this video. Thank you for supporting the channel and watching this video all the way through. If you want to support me monetarily, support me on my Patreon, follow me on all my socials, and yeah, just truly thank y'all for watching. I mean, this video took a long time to make between finals and all the stuff I do in real life. Like, I'm so surprised that this got out this year. Feel me? But yeah, stay safe and I'll see you in the next one. All right, peace.